Now then, here we are in the workshop again, and Lee's come to visit us with some, this is just the top, but they are sunshine inverters, yeah, and we're just digging into them, and we may be able to make one out of two. So let's just look down here and see what's going on. And there's Lee. So here's this inverter. Now there are fuses on the front, and the interesting thing was, I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 fuses, and they're what were they, Lee?
35 amp?
35 amp fuses, and all of those fuses were blown. So it's think, oh right, we'll take the top off and we're going to find evidence of the blue smoke dragon. However, we've undone the screws either end, and on this one the top just lifts off. And this is a 2022 model. So let's just zoom down and have a look. So there are fuses on the board. There, and there. And these fuses here are to fuse this positive. So not only have we got fuses there, but then when we get on the board there are more fuses. And all those fuses on the board were fine. Not a problem. Yeah. But as I say, the other fuses that were on the front were totally blown, all of them. Now whether one blew and then another one blew and then it just a cascade, I can't see it that they would all blow at once, because that's a ridiculous amount of power. However, let's just turn this round, and I don't know whether you'll be able to see, but let's zoom down there. Whoop. I'm going to move the camera forward. Just here you can see it's got mighty warm, and there, just at the connection point, this insulation has started to frazzle a bit, yeah, but then the fuses blew. So we're just going to test this now, and we're going to wire it up. It's a 12 volt 2 kilowatt, and of course I can't remember, is it rules of solar panel 2 or 3? Always run your equipment lower than the rated value. If you were to run a 2000 watt inverter at 500 watts, it would last you for a long time. And obviously it's not the case with this one, but I think we've identified 1 or 2 other problems. So before we start, are we in view? We are in view. This is one of the blown fuses. Yeah, nothing going on at all. Here's one that I've robbed out of another one. Yeah, so we'll put that, just the single one, in the front of this inverter that we're testing, and we'll see what happens. So there we've got the power from a 12 volt battery. Okay. Alright, good. Yeah, we've been testing this already, so there wasn't a big spark. And on the back here, can we see just about, there's an on switch there. Doesn't sound brilliant, and then it stops. Yeah, and it goes help, help. So we'll switch that off. But there is a bit of life. So having had all those fuses blow, I would have thought there'd be no life at all, but there is. And all the internal fuses are alright. And Lee turned up with 2 of these, and it looks like we may possibly be able to make 1 out of 2, because, let me zoom in a bit. Look at those capacitors, hey? They're all domed. Yeah, there, and there. And on the other one, which is faulty and is just totally dead, the capacitors look good. Now these are 3,300 microfarads at 16 volts. So we're going to take this apart, yeah, and have a go. And why not? We have the spares theoretically over there. Yeah, that's the dead one. It's a slightly earlier model, 2019, and things are just a bit different, but it's got the capacitors in it. So as we know, heat kills capacitors. And if you remember the video I did about the PodPoint car charger a couple of months ago now, and that came down to the output capacitors of the 12 volt DC power supply. So we're able to fix it, and I'll put a link to that at the end of this video because you might find that highly entertaining. Right, let's crack on. Okay, we got the board out, and there's no real evidence of the blue smoke dragon, although there's plenty evidence of an enthusiasm to apply solder where the power is being switched. But I think we're going to have those transistors, no, not transistors, capacitors out, and we'll just test what they are. Right, let's crack on. So I've identified where the capacitors are. That square there, that square there, there and there. So I'm not going to make you watch desoldering because it's rather tedious, but we'll get back to you when we've got the capacitors out. Okay, really rough and ready, because it was quite difficult to get capacitors down on the other side of the board, so we've just linked them there, and this is just a proof of concept. Yeah, and we thought we'd run the camera in case we could capture the blue smoke dragon. So yeah, something else went poff down here. Actually, now that I look, yeah, it becomes apparent. Let me just move the camera. Okay, here we go. Look, there's clear space round those. So not only were the capacitors duff, but these here, which I assume, if I look, yeah, the big FETs or something, there is obviously shorted out as well. So, you know, you give it a go, and then we found something else. We should really have noticed that to start with, but that's just, oh, the capacitors are bad, that's what the problem is. But it's not that. There is a cascade effect commonly, yeah, where things just get worse. I bet you the fuse, the single 35 amp fuse that we put in the front there, I bet you that's blown. So from me and from Lee, cheers for now.